Mayang bhante Tisaranena saha Athanga Samanagata Uposatha silang Dhammam yajama Anugraham tatva Silang dekha Me bhante Tutiyampi Mayang bhante Tisaranena saha Athanga Samanagata Uposatha silang Dhammam yajama Anugraham tatva Silang dekha Me bhante Tatiyampi Mayang bhante Tisaranena saha Athanga Samanagata Uposatha silang Dhammam yajama Anugraham tatva Silang dekha Me bhante
Yamahang vadami tang vadija
Bhante
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi
Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi
Dhammam saranam gacchāmi
Dhammam saranam gacchāmi
Sangham saranam gacchāmi
Sangham saranam gacchāmi
Tutiyampi Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi
Tutiyampi Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi
Tutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchāmi
Tutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchāmi
Tutiyampi sangham saranam gacchāmi
Tutiyampi sangham saranam gacchāmi
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi
Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchāmi
Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchāmi
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchāmi
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchāmi
Ti saranagamanaṃ paripurnam
Ahante
Panatipata Vedamani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyam
Pranatipata Vedamani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyam Samadiyami.
Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Abrahmacharya Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Abrahmacharya Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Surameraya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Surameraya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Vikala Bhojana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Vikala Bhojana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Nacha Hita Vadita
Visukadasana
Visukadasana Malaganda Vilepana Rarana Mandana Vibhusanatthana
Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Uccasayana
Uccasayana
Mahasayana
Mahasayana
Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Tisaranena sahaddhamma samanagatam uposata silang dhammam sadhaka surakhitam katva appamadena sampadita.
Amadante.
Givante, now is time for the time of talk. We can possibly read the time.
Today is the 31st of December 2025. Yesterday, I mainly talked about the two mental qualities required to observe the object, meditative object. They are accurate aiming and sufficient effort. In Pali, Vitakka and Viriya. Without these two mental qualities, meditators cannot observe the meditation object. The analogy used to explain the requirement of these two mental qualities is the game of darts, which you may have seen or played. In this game, small missiles or darts are thrown to hit a target, I think the target is called the bull's eye. To hit the bull's eye, you must first aim at it accurately. Without proper aiming, there is no chance of hitting the center. Therefore, accurate aiming is essential. However, aiming alone is not sufficient. You also need to apply effort to release the dart. Only then will it reach the target, and that effort must be sufficient. I repeat, that effort must be sufficient. If it's too weak, the dart will fall short. On the other hand, effort alone is also not enough. If you throw the dart with great force, but in the wrong direction, you still won't hit the bullseye. So you need both accurate aiming and sufficient effort. Similarly, in the meditation, when observing the meditative object, you must first aim your attention accurately. Without this, the mind won't connect properly with the object. But even if your attention is well aimed, without effort, the mind will not reach or hit the target. And like in darts, the effort must be balanced and sufficient. Too little, and the mind will fall short. Too much, and it may overshoot the target. Therefore, both accurate aiming and balanced effort are required to stay connected with the meditation object, just like hitting the bullseye. Another helpful analogy is the game of marbles. When children play marbles, they first aim carefully at another marble. Without proper aiming, there is no chance of hitting the target. However, aiming alone is not enough. They also need to apply effort to release the marble. Only then will it move toward the target, and that effort must be sufficient. If these two factors, qualities, mental qualities are not there, then they will not be able to hit the target. So similarly, when you practice meditation, when you observe the meditative object, you have to aim accurately the meditative object. Then you should apply the sufficient effort. Only then you will hit the target of meditative object. And as I mentioned, effort alone is also not sufficient. If the children throw the marble with great force, but in the wrong direction, they will miss the target. Therefore, just like in the game of darts, Success in the game of marbles requires both accurate aiming and sufficient effort. Likewise, when you begin to observe the rising and falling of the abdomen, you should aim the abdomen accurately. First, you have to aim accurately the movement of the abdomen. Without accurate aiming, there is no chance for the mind to truly connect with the object. At the same time, the sufficient effort is required. If the effort is too weak, the mind will fall short and fail to stay with the rising and falling. That means the vision becomes unclear. When effort is weak, mind falls shortly and the vision becomes unclear. You will not see the rising and falling clearly. Not only rising and falling, you will not see any object clearly. Not only when observing the rising and falling of the abdomen, the same principle applies when observing mental objects such as thoughts and thinking. You must aim your attention accurately and apply sufficient effort to stay with the object. Similarly, when observing sensation in different parts of the body, the same approach is required, accurate attention and enough effort to keep the mind connected. In walking meditation, when you observe the movement of the foot, you must aim your attention at the foot that is actually moving, not the other one. And again, sufficient effort is needed to sustain mindfulness throughout the movement. Even during daily activities, the practice continues. You must aim your attention accurately at the action or the part of the body that is active. For example, if you move the right hand, aim at right hand. If you move left hand, aim at the left hand. While bowing down, aim at head. While chewing, aim at the mouth. In this way, you have to aim at the action or at the bodily part which is active. Aiming accurately and applying sufficient effort must be done consistently and continuously, not just once or twice. Yesterday I used 3 terms: properly, systematically, and regularly. This means that observation should be done properly, in a systematic way, and on a regular basis as well. A mother hen sits on her eggs with her body relaxed, slightly spreading her wings to cover eggs effectively and maintain warmth. She does not sit forcefully, rather, her weight is evenly distributed to keep the eggs warm and safe without breaking them. This is sitting properly and systematically. Likewise, meditators should place their mind on the meditation object through accurate aiming and sufficient effort. This is the proper and systematic way of observation. Meanwhile, the mother hen sits on the eggs regularly and continuously. Leaving them only briefly for food and water. In the same way, meditators should observe the meditative object continuously, consistently, without any gap, any interval. For instance, while sitting, meditators should observe the force rising and falling with great effort and accurate aiming. Then the second rising and falling, then third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on. If the mind wanders, note it right away and promptly bring the attention back to the abdomen. Once the mind is brought back, observe the rising and falling from the first to the second to the third to the fourth, continuously and carefully. And in walking meditation, meditators should observe the first step with accuracy and sustained effort, followed by the second, third, fourth, fifth, and subsequent steps. The mind should not be allowed to drift away from the meditative object. But at the beginning of the meditation practice, you may not yet be skilled at aiming. You may not know how to aim accurately. However, as you try your best with consistency, your ability to aim improves. Over time. You become more skilled and proficient. In the same way, you may not know exactly how much effort to apply at first, but through your own experience, you begin to understand what is too much, too little, and just right. Even a teacher cannot precisely show you the exact amount of effort needed. It is something you discover through direct practice. Just like children learning to play marbles in the beginning, they may not be able to aim accurately or apply the right force. But as they play again and again, they gradually become more skilled and confident. Likewise, in meditation, skill arises through repetition and persistence. The more you practice, the more natural and precise your aiming and effort become. So in this way, these two mental qualities, accurate aiming and sufficient effort, is essential in observing the meditative object, whether the object is during sitting meditation, whether the object is during walking or during day-to-day activities. And in the analogy yesterday, I mentioned if the mother hen does not sit on the eggs properly, systematically, then the eggs may get rotten, spoiled, damaged, or destroyed. Likewise, if a meditator does not apply accurate aiming and sufficient effort to observe the meditative object, then his or her mind might become spoiled, damaged, or rotten due to the impurities of the mind. When the mind is not well aimed at the meditative object, wrongful thoughts are likely to arise and spoil the mind. There are three kinds of wrongful thought. The first wrongful thought is kama vitarka. I repeat, kama vitarka, sensuous thought or sense-related thinking. It is longing for sense object, wanting to see pleasing sights, wanting to hear pleasing sounds, smell pleasing odors, taste pleasing flavors, and experience pleasing thoughts. Such thought may arise in the form of thinking, planning, imagining, remembering, and so on. It could be present-oriented sensuous thought, like I want to check my phone and see what is happening. It's so boring here. I want to listen to music. I want a sip of coffee. I want to put on makeup, dye my hair, or put on nail polish, or future-oriented sensuous thought. Like once this retreat is over, I will treat myself to something nice. I can't wait to go shopping or eat out again. I will watch all the new movies when I get home. These are just few examples of the sensuous thought. If not sensuous thought, then mind becomes vulnerable to ill will or aversion. The thoughts rooted in hatred or anger. When mind is not clearly directed or grounded in the present object, it easily becomes vulnerable to aversion, displeasure with the meditation experience, irritation toward bodily discomfort, or frustration with wandering thoughts. They can quickly involve into subtle or overt form of anger. unpleasant objects, unpleasant sensations or conditions are the fertile ground for the ill will that we call vyapada in Pali. It can arise through any of the six sense doors when we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, or think about something disagreeable or uncomfortable. The trigger can be a harsh sound, a whole odor, or a bitter taste, and unpleasant bodily sensation, and even a disturbing thought or memory. Again, these objects can belong to the past, present, or future. If it is past, then like remembering something painful or someone who wronged you. If it is present, it could be the discomfort feeling or a loud sound or getting frustrated during meditation. If it is future, like you worry about something that might go wrong and feel upset or afraid. Again, if I have to give some examples about the past oriented, the ill will, like, oh, I can't believe they said that to me last time, I should have said something. Oh, I will never forgive what that person did. Then, if it is about present, then, oh, this noise is so annoying. Oh, why that person is breathing so loudly during sitting meditation. So, this is about present. And if I have to give example about future, then if I see him again, I will make sure to avoid him. Or next time she speaks like that, I will tell her off. So in this way, ill will, aversion, or anger-related thought also arise based on the past, present, and future objects. If this ill will or aversion remains unchecked, it may develop into cruel, violent, or harming thought, known as vihingsa vitaka, the third one. Vihingsa vitaka.
Hại tâm.
This vihingsa vitaka, the cruel, violent thought, also can be related to past, present, and future objects. Mind may think, oh, I was so stupid not to hurt them back when I had the chance. This is past-oriented, cruel thought. Oh, I don't care if this insect or mosquito dies, it's annoying me. This is present-oriented, cruel thought. Next time he talks to me like that, I will really hurt him. This is future-oriented, cruel thought.
Sorry, Father, could you repeat about the fast?
False. I was too stupid to not to hold them back when I had the chance. So in this way, when meditators fail to aim accurately, properly, systematically, at the meditative object, these three kinds of wrongful thought tend to arise. Sensuous thought, ill will or aversion, and cruel or violent thought. In Pali, Kama Vitaka, the second Vyapada Vitaka, and the third Vihimsa Vitaka. And when these three thoughts are present, the meditator's mind remain rotten, spoiled, damaged, or destroyed. That is why meditators should try each and every moment to aim accurately at the meditative object. When your mind is well directed, well aimed at the meditative object, your mind is free from these three kinds of wrongful thought. That is why the Vitaka is also known as Samma Sankappa, because it dissipates these three kinds of wrongful thoughts. That's why all the yogis, in order to keep your mind free from these three kinds of wrongful thoughts, keep applying accurate aiming and sufficient effort to keep your mind connected with the meditative object. By keeping your mind connected with the meditative object, may you all be able to develop mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom as well.
Given the next two questions, the first one is thanks to your instruction last night, by applying accurate aiming and the sufficient effort, he feel like under the mind less wander, less thinking and thought appear. And if it appeared, he noticed quickly and returned back to the abdomen to observe rising and falling. But while observing rising and falling, sometimes he forgot to note or label rising or falling and falling. He forgot to label rising, falling, but he note up, down. Is that okay?
Better to name accordingly, according to the process, rising and falling, because up and down, yes, it is the rising and falling also move at times up and down, but it is about the expansion and the contraction. Later you will see other movements which can be related as up and down. So in order to not to mix up, or yesterday, the day before yesterday, I did mention about the recognition and recording. In order to recognize and record properly, systematically and correctly, the proper and name should be used to label when we note the object. Understood?
Regarding the
Understood? You understood about it? Okay. If not, I can give another.
Dear Bhante, while observing rising and falling at the abdomen, some see a doesn't label rising and falling, but just try to have the mind well connected or directed with the different kind of movement of the abdomen only.
From the very first day, I mentioned that you have to label. It is not just about observing. You have to label. Without labeling, you can't well recognize the object. If I have to give an example, when you learn a new language, let's say you are going to learn English language. And when you learn language, you begin with A, B, C, D. When you learn, you have to pronounce A as A, B as B. You can't just remember that word or that cycle in your mind. If you don't pronounce, then you will not be able to speak that language. Similarly, here you have to pronounce mentally, that we call labeling and noting as well. Yes, in future, when you will you will attain the insight, the certain insight knowledge, at that time labeling will drop by itself. What was his another second question?
When meditate, he rarely experiences discomfort or unpleasant sensation on the body. Sometimes just the eating, but the numbness on the legs happen quite often, but he just ignore it and return back to the rising and falling at the abdomen. We wonder whether he practice like that is right or wrong, to ignore the sensation.
Yes, if you can ignore the unpleasant sensation and bring back your attention to the abdomen, you may bring back your attention to the abdomen. Avoiding, neglecting, ignoring will not be always a good option to deal with the object.
She has a related question after that yogi, that is, there are many different sensations appear on her body, and she can label them and just follow the different sensation one after another. When it appears, you note it, label it, and until it disappears, and note the new and different sensation just one after another. Is that very correct?
Yes, of course, if you can observe precisely, if your mind is well penetrated to each object, into each object, then that's fine.
Devante, a question related to the pre-wrongful thought that you just mentioned. For example, while sitting meditation, there is an insect or a mosquito bite her. And at first she noted painful, and then a thought appear like I want to kill it or I want to make it fly away. And then she remember, oh, if I kill the mosquito, I will break the precept. So she just have a slight action to make the mosquito fly away or just let it continue to bite her. And the intention want to kill the mosquito is no more. But the question is, there was a wrongful thought appeared in her mind, but it just finished at Pyapada Vitaka, not Vihisa Vitaka. So whenever the mind have the thought, just stop in the mind, want to kill or want to harm one another, it has to commit a bad karma.
When you have volition, because the volition is considered as karma. That's why it depends on the volition. If you had the bad volition at that moment, then at least it becomes mental action, mental karma. The desire to kill or harm that mosquito. So that is mental action. When volition is there, then it becomes mental action. And the result depends. Results depend on the intensity of the volition, how strong the intensity was, how long the intensity was. So it depends on that. Because it is also because within a second, millions and billions of the minds rises and pass away. From ordinary people's view, we may just think it was just for one time, but unknowingly, unconsciously, there might have happened the intention or the volition might have arose many times at that moment. Saranama Parimuchisami Idam me punya asakayana hotu Idam me siya maka palanya nasa pacayo hotu imano punya pangan sama satana dema Sabe sata sukhita hontu sadhu sadhu